I have never been that high. Most where I got to in the corporate ladder was head of marketing.
We specialize in go-to-market strategies for B2B SaaS companies. We're really good at bringing companies from 0 to 1.
That's a cool market to have.
The big thing about Google is their ad rank score. So
I hated their ad score because
yeah,
they don't tell you are the worst on the market.
yep, it can happen, but I think that's where the targeting comes into place.
What is your routine to go and be there?
So I am a father of two, so my day starts with a lot of coffee. Unplugging is a big part of my life, and
Snoop is never old. You are a good person.
I try to be.
Hello, my name is Alex Elish. This is Big Performance Podcast, and my today's guest is David Polstra. Hello, David.
Hey, Alex, thank you for having me.
I'm happy to have you. You are VP of Paid Media. How is that like? I have never been that high. Most where I got to in the corporate ladder was head of marketing. I don't know what's the next steps there. What
Yes,
does
of
a
course.
VP do?
So I work with an agency. We specialize in go-to-market strategies for B2B SaaS companies. I run the advertising side of the house. So I work closely with the clients to kind of build their Google and LinkedIn paid strategies and then help them implement that.
Hmm. So what does VP stands for? I thought maybe it would stand for I don't do ads. I manage the people who do the ads. Is that
Ideally, yeah, ideally that is the case. I do have a couple people working under me, but as far as VP goes, I'm more hands-on than most VPs.
So it's that kind of VP that makes clients happy, but
Yes,
by saying, "Hey, you will be talking to VP directly," and they're like,
exactly.
"Yay, we are so special."
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Awesome. And can you tell a little bit about your company?
Yeah, like I said, we specialize in go-to-market strategy. A lot of our clients are in the tech space, working directly with developers. So we work on content generation as well as the paid side, and they typically have some overlap. We're doing a lot of the same work, keyword research, um, basically awareness strategies to get the right people to their websites, so that they're able to convert and become clients or customers of our customers. So um, our our biggest um, our niche is that developer tooling company that is more technical in nature. So there's a very um, there's a balance that we have to take when we're marketing to developers, and I think that's something that is one of our superpowers in this space.
So you most of the time work with technology companies like software as a service, and your niche is marketing to developers.
Yes, that's correct.
Hmm. That's a cool market to have. Do you handle big budgets all the time, or as you said, go to market strategy can start with some budget?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of our clients are in that beginning stage, startup, and they're just starting to test the waters in marketing, and they don't know how to do it. We're really good at bringing companies from 0 to 1. In terms of larger budgets, yes, that's something that we're very comfortable working with. And it can be fun to play with larger budgets, because you're able to experiment more and kind of bring in out of the box ideas to drive leads. So I do like working with larger budgets.
Tell me more about what's your day like? What's the, I would not say perfect. I would say, what's the all right day for you? The
Yeah,
day where
sure.
you work
Yeah.
and be like moderately productive.
Yeah, sure. So I think most of my work is onboarding new clients, bringing them up to speed, and um, like pushing out new campaigns for them. So I think the when I'm in that stage, I'm like very busy. I'm working at um, kind of the strategy, the copy, all the editing that goes into Google Ads, as well as setting up the campaigns. Um, so if it's like a busy day for me, I'm probably setting up two or three campaigns, and then I'm going back and optimizing those campaigns. Google makes so many different changes in their platform every month, it seems, every week, it seems. So you're
Yeah,
always in that
I'm
account.
asking about closer to the theme of our show. We are big performance podcast, and part of that is productivity. Yeah,
Hmm.
but what it's like to be you. So before you're
Okay.
coming to work and starting to work with clients and setting up meetings and campaigns, how do you wake up? You wake up energized. Do you
Okay.
need to take a detour to the gym or a
Yeah. All
taco
right.
shop?
That's good.
What is your routine to go and be there?
That's good. Thank you for clarifying. So I am a father of two. So my day starts with making sure that my family is set up for success. And I work a lot with my daughters to get them to school. It starts with waking up with a lot of coffee. I'm pretty tired in the morning. So getting that started and getting them out the door is my main um, piece for the morning before I get started for work. Does that answer your question, Alex?
It's the beginning. Good.
Okay.
So you get the kids out of the door, set them up for success, and then you work from home.
I do work from home, yeah. I've worked from home before the pandemic, so I'm very comfortable in this space. Um, in the morning, I'm making sure that everything is ready for the day, whether that's answering emails, getting on Slack, um, kind of planning out who I'm going to work on for the day. And it's really important to um, kind of have that plan in place so that uh, my my clients are happy, everyone is happy. So that's kind of
Alrighty, we have the workday, and after the workday, what happens?
after the workday. Um, back to home life and getting the making sure that the family is happy and we're very active. I live in Colorado in the U.S., so we're always outside, always having a good time in the wild and nature. Um, for myself, I like to get out and mountain bike, hike, do a lot of camping here. So after work is a lot of play. So we have a good time out here.
Camping and mountain biking. That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I would never. Maybe I would sometime, but currently I don't get the uh, how would it work, for example, for me as a person working in digital, to go somewhere camping and lose it all, and I
Yeah.
cannot check my stuff in the woods. Is
That's
it
part of
a
the appeal.
kind of spiritual thing for you?
Yeah, for sure. Unplugging is a big part of my life, and um, getting away, getting away, and being able to focus on yourself and focus on your family is something that's really important for me.
How old are your kids?
I
They
have a.
bike as well, or you need to put them on you.
They're a little younger. They're both under the age of 4, so they're both biking, but they're not at a point where they can mountain bike. I do have like a little seat that I can put them on, and we can go mountain biking together, and that's a lot of fun to be able to do that with both of them.
Awesome. You do any other sports like gym?
I mostly just bike, but I will get into the gym every once in a while.
What do you do in the winter?
Um, that is a good question. I've started boxing, so I'm hoping to keep that up to keep in shape, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm not the best gym rat, so we'll see what happens this winter.
My thing with gym was that gym does not specifically work out with podcasts. So when I'm listening to the podcast, it's not really the perfect state for me to
Yeah,
push some iron. It's like smart people talking in my ears, and I need to physically exert some like tremendous amount of energy. So
that's fair.
I'm in front of this choice. Do I listen to just aggressive, nice music that helps me do my workout? Or do I kind of go over this chill vibe of people talking and somehow do the exercise?
I would choose the music if I were you, or
Yeah,
get into biking, and then you can listen to podcasts while you bike.
cool. Do you do that?
I do not listen to podcasts while I bike. I'm on the music side of things.
Hmm. What kind of music?
Um, Right now, I've been listening to like hip hop and rap. I just like to work out to that kind of stuff. Gotten back to some of the old school stuff like Snoop and Dr. Dre. I've been enjoying that a lot.
Snoop is never old.
His early stuff is what I meant to
Ah,
say.
early. All right.
Thank you, Alex.
All right. When we're thinking back to work and your position gives me a awesome opportunity to ask some very nice questions that help me sync to the outside my infosphere things. So what is the current situation? What is your current view on this idea of what is the most important part of a paid campaign?
Hmm.
Would it be a creative, the message it tries to transfer, or the programmatic side of the things like automatic AI based targeting and training?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it all plays in together, especially with Google Ads. I mean, they've been doing it for so long. They know what their users, the end users want, and that's what they really focus on. So it all comes back to how good are your, how good is your targeting? How good is your ad copy? And then how good is the user experience once they hit that ad? So um, the the big thing about Google is their ad rank score. So if one of those is off, they're going to ding you and your ad rank score, um, and you're going to have a lower performance on that ad because you're not doing one of those things. So it's really important to have that all in sync.
I hated their ad score
Yeah,
because they don't tell you you are the worst on the market. They don't tell you you are underperforming. They just make your budget go out of the window. And you're like, maybe my ads are not performing well. because
Yeah.
I'm poor now and my campaigns got me no leads. Maybe.
Yeah,
What is what's the trick? How to catch it up?
they're definitely going to spend your money no matter what. It just depends on how you have things set up. So, um, a lot of times, like the default settings in Google are not very helpful for you, because they want to spend your money, right? So, it's just important to know where those are and how to turn them off. And sometimes they do make sense. Sometimes, but those are things that I usually test at the back end or after my campaigns have been running for a couple of months. Um, so it's really important to make sure that like your targeting is set up correctly. One for example, um, the location targeting in Google is set up by default to target everyone. Even if you say, I only want to target the United States, they have a way to target people outside of the United States so that you're spending money outside of the US. So, knowing where
That's
that
a cool
setting
one.
is,
It's
yeah,
the interest
right,
geo-targeting. So if you are interested in something from US, for example, like, do you watch YouTube? That is
yeah,
something from US. So come
exactly.
on.
Yeah. And every platform does that. It's not just Google. I mean, Microsoft, Bing, LinkedIn, everyone does it. So knowing where that is, I mean, in terms of like, how do you optimize your campaigns to make sure that they're performing well? I think like the biggest thing for me when writing ad copy is, does it align with the landing page, and the experience that people hit when they go on the landing page. So, like aligning headlines and aligning paragraphs with the same copy as your landing page is really important. And that also helps with that Google ad relevancy score, that we were talking about. Um, and pushing that out the door, having it run for a month, 2 weeks to a month. And then you can go back and kind of adjust some of the headlines or copy that's not working. And I usually do that by like copying an ad and then running that against the old ad, and then it's just like a you're always optimizing campaigns. You're always going in and changing that ad copy to try to get better click through, more impressions, and there are ways to kind of tinker with that inside the Google platform.
When I was running campaigns for technology startup, there was this issue where I could not have many experiments because the more information Google has for my campaign performance, the better it becomes. So I
Hmm.
cannot do A/B testing really. I can create the best campaign I can and then hope it will aggregate the right kind of data for my B2B customer profile. So it still would be effective. And then
Yeah.
at some point in this optimization, it will plateau.
Yep. That's a
My
great point.
boss will say, here is more budget. And I'm like, I cannot take it. The campaign is very, very smart, but that's it.
Yeah. That's a great point. And sometimes it can like take a nosedive and you're like, what just happened? Why am I not spending this budget? So, um, I think one thing to do there is um, there are different bid strategies in Google that you can try first. And that's usually what I turn to. A lot of people start with maximize conversions. The important thing to know about maximize conversions is you have to have 30 conversions in the last 30 days for you to be able to utilize that bid strategy. But usually I start with that, and if that plateaus or takes a nosedive, then I switch to a different bid strategy, that can get those clicks back up and start bringing in more conversions. Um, but you kind of have to go down like some different steps. Maybe your landing page needs to be re-optimized. So that's an opportunity for you to create a new landing page, push new copy on that's working, and kind of going from there. But yeah, it's always frustrating to see that happen inside the Google platform. But yeah, I hope
One
that
thing
answers your
that I
question.
noticed with maximize conversions is that with a B2B company, you get those 30 conversions. Most of the time, those would be leads, super
Hmm.
interested people. And then you launch it. You think, oh, now the smart algorithms will do the stuff for me. What the smart algorithms do, they take the easiest and most worthless conversion and do
Yeah,
many, many of those.
yeah, yep. That I mean, it can happen, but I think that's where the targeting comes into place, and that's where it's really important to make sure that your targeting is on par, especially with keywords. Like a lot of times I'll see a, when I'm starting with a client and they've been working with someone else or they've been doing it in house, they have way too many keywords in an ad group or a campaign. And you just have to be very focused in those keywords to make sure that you're bringing the right people to that landing page so that Google's algorithms can figure out who's going to convert or not. So that's usually how I get around the junk leads as you're kind of referring to.
And I have never been good with the other side, the shady realm. With keywords, I'm quite good. am an ex search engine optimizator.
Yeah, so you're
So I'm
you
good with
know.
keywords. What about the banner campaigns and the
Mhm.
audience targeting and interest targeting? This is a scary place for me. Can you bring some light?
Yeah, it is a scary place because um like all the platforms kind of make it a shady place. I like to start with retargeting for those types of campaigns because I know who I'm targeting to. Um, and it's easier to like bring the right people to the site, and it's important to bring people back to your site. So that's where I like to start is with that retargeting piece. Um, but all of my campaigns are running with what's known as observation targeting, and that's populating all of the audiences inside Google. So I know who is clicking on the ad, what audience they're kind of fitting into. Um, there are some other like knowns in the, especially in the tech industry, like a decision maker isn't going to be outside of these age limits, outside of these demographics, so I can plug those in. But with display, it's really about placements, and that's where that shady part comes in. Like you don't want your ad popping up on a gaming site or like some junk site. So it's all about going back into those campaigns and turning off those placements, making sure that your ad isn't showing up with like content that you don't want to be showing up in. So yeah, that's kind of how I get around that like shadiness. There are also like new types of campaigns inside Google. They're kind of, you can tell that they're getting away from pure display ads and they're pushing people towards what's called performance max and lead gen campaigns. And those types of campaigns push out display content as well as text ads across their entire suite of products. So YouTube, search, Gmail, all of those are included in those types of campaigns. And um, I'm starting to push my clients to those instead of display. I'm starting to see better conversion rates on those types of campaigns. But yeah, if you're going to get into display, make sure I would start with retargeting, and then going from there.
When you said that you mainly work with tools for developers, you still mentioned LinkedIn. I thought developers use LinkedIn in the moments between their jobs. They're
Right.
like, oh, it looks like I'm getting fired. I will update my LinkedIn resume and
Yeah.
get a new job. So
Yeah. Let me
do they still get products from LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn is a tricky one, especially for developers. Um, I like to use LinkedIn for I'm grouping developers as like anyone on the tech stack. So this includes technical decision makers. I do get some leads from like DevOps engineers, software engineers, principal, the like manager style developer, as well as decision makers. So they are on there. Um, I've had a lot of success with like industry newsletters, getting that software engineer lead. So knowing where they hang out is really important, and a lot of these industry newsletters are a great place to start. The cost per lead is usually lower, and we get really good quality leads from those pieces of content. So usually, what I'm doing is advertising like an easier sell. So developers are really tricky, and that they're not just going to give you their email address. So um, having something for them that feels valuable is really important. So it's all about a good piece of content or a really good offer that they can't refuse, where they're going to give you their email address. So um, that's kind of what I use for that type of lead generation.
All right. We are now a week into the future. In that
Okay.
future, my team already launched our community where they share skills and resources with digital entrepreneurs. It's a free community, so I see no revenue inside for the observable future, but we need to test a lot of stuff. We know that ads will get us there faster. What would
Mhm.
be your recommendation of the start with paid media for cases like us that we don't have a huge budget, but we want to test stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, so a lot of times, like when you're looking for a very specific person to come to your community, that's where LinkedIn is helpful because um, you can market to exactly who you want to market to. So that's like a CEO of a company under the size of 50 or something. Um, and you can be very specific with who you target to, who you are talking to. Um, I think in like the awareness side of LinkedIn, it's gotten better. I would historically steer you away from LinkedIn because it was expensive, and it still is expensive for advertising. But they are getting better at bringing down the cost per click. A lot of my campaigns that I run, like with companies on Google and LinkedIn, the cost per click is very similar. So if you're trying to build an audience and you want a very specific person, I would steer you to LinkedIn. Um, if you are strictly wanting awareness and bringing people to the site, um, that have more intent than most folks, I would steer you to Google, um, just because you know what they're searching for. The people that are searching for those terms are more likely to convert on your site. So that's kind of how I think about like the the beginning stages of advertising. Um, does is that helpful, or are you looking for some
It
other?
is. It's very generic.
Okay.
Maybe there are stuff that matches our uh, vibe, because I will go after guerrilla techniques. And maybe, would you say that we can start with video? Because video ads are more difficult to get into, because they
Hmm.
require production budget, they require creative people. Like, would it be a competitive benefit for me as an advertiser to to start with video?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, first of all. Second, you bring up a good point. It's a creative piece. It is hard to produce videos, and if you have the team for it, yeah, that's a great add-on to your advertising strategy. I wouldn't necessarily start with video. We talked about the display network earlier and how hard it is to manage that. Um, I would start with what you know, and if that's video, then start with video. But um, it's easier to break into the digital advertising scene when you're using still images on LinkedIn, still messages on LinkedIn, search on Google, and then kind of building from there. So video is something that I recommend later in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. So for the conversion, for a person to join my community, you're saying that we need to be known first. So for example, a still image on LinkedIn does not mean anyone will come and get into our community. It will
Yeah,
mean that they saw us.
right.
What
So,
I get from it is that we need more contact. Would it make
mhm.
sense for us to send people to our video more than to like long form videos, more than sending them straight to the website where they can join?
Yeah, so again, you bring up a good point. I think in your case specifically, like you already have that content. It might be good to start with like shorts of pieces of content that you know resonate with folks, um, and kind of giving them a preview of your product, where they can convert, maybe learn more as the CTA, or you can actually do sign up straight in LinkedIn where you ask for their information natively inside the ad. So those are just a couple techniques. I think like outside of the advertising world, there are a million things you can do. But like the in terms of this conversation, if you're going to be on LinkedIn and you're active and you already have the content, push the content that you already have that you know that works. Even the promotional content, maybe you created an organic post that went viral, or is doing really well, getting a lot of people to comment on it. That's something that you can use in the promotional piece, to kind of push to a broader audience.
Cool. I was thinking about actually Facebook advertising. I hate the
Hmm.
platform, but Instagram is something that could be fruitful in my niche. Do you have experience with that?
It's been a long time, and it's been so long that Facebook kicked me off of their ad platform. So I'm not going to tell you what to do on Facebook. Um, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. All right. I have a very important topic for us to talk to. The people who need our help the most. They're in the worst position, as I see from my experience, are the solo developers. They are capable of creating a nice product from the technical side.
Hmm.
But when it comes to marketing their product and getting people to see the product and to find out what it does, they are in absolute trouble. And I saw a lot of products that are majestic, but they do not put the words right. They don't have images to interest a person with a distributed attention over social media and everything.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to those poor souls?
Yeah. I've worked with a lot of startups that uh, have been in that position where they have a really good product and they just don't know how to talk about it. I've been the first marketing hire for some of those teams. So I know their pain. I think what I would recommend is talk about what you know. Um, Developers get really excited about the things that they know, and if you can kind of break through that first stage of um, like, how am I going to talk about this? Don't worry about how you're going to talk about it. Just talk about it. Um, Especially for that single solo developer, like you are you already know everything about it, so just talk about it. And when you start getting interest from other people and you actually start selling the thing, then you can be bring me on board to kind of get you to that next stage. But um, yeah, I think it's really cool to work with that type of personality because they're so excited and they want to change the world. So yeah, I would just encourage you to keep talking about it. Is that a good answer, Alex? I don't know. Um,
It's a good answer. I really enjoyed how you boosted their
they're
belief.
confident. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Where
what
do
you
they
said
talk?
about how it's good to work with those kind of people, like not every time
Yeah, I
they're
know. I
good
know.
at what they do, but they hate marketers and think that
Yeah.
we are inferior kind of beings, and that we just go door to door, do door to door sales to
Yeah.
people.
So, okay, I can expand on that. So, like, what are the communities that they're hanging out in? I would start there by marketing to those folks. Because most of the time, and by marketing, I'm saying like talking to them about the thing that you're working on. Um, because most of the times your product is probably related to those communities, or someone in that community is going to get excited. So that's where I'd start. Um, I wouldn't get into. We've been talking about advertising this whole time. I wouldn't get into that. I would focus on organic growth, kind of feeling it out, making sure that it has traction before I would start throwing um, budget at it.
It's true. Most of the time, the tools developers produce in this solo scenario would be from their own world. The thing that helped them fix something in the workflow that they have had, and the people don't just jump from a developer seat to a seat of a person who travels a lot. They don't
Yeah.
jump to solve their problem. I understand. What would be a super exciting project for you, David?
Um, yeah, I'm looking back at what I've worked on and what's exciting for me. Um, I think like in this space, there are so many different technologies that you can focus on, which is exciting. But um, I feel like for me, I would like to work on one of those technologies that's kind of like up and to the right, if that makes sense, like gaining traffic. Maybe not like AI or generative AI, something that's like way too popular right now, but something that's kind of um, a, a cloud technology or um, like a developer tool that will help the world eventually. So like that's gaining traction now, and the types of projects that I'd be working on are challenging in that you're having to kind of educate people about the technology as well as market at the same time. So those are kind of the projects that excite me because you're always experimenting with new marketing um, campaigns, um, and at the same time you're trying to figure out how you're going to um, educate the community about the technology.
Great point. Not everyone has this in front of them, that marketing is closely related to communication. And it's basically how we move the message around, in what ways, creative or programmatic. Still, it's communication. And what would be your side of the process that you enjoy the most? Is it
Hmm.
the setting up of the complex advertising campaign, or is it brainstorm that you have on the ideation side? Yeah, or working
Yeah,
with the client? What is it?
yeah, I think it's like the strategy piece and how we are going to get this product or piece of software out to the market. Um, I really like doing that initial research on um, who is the person you're selling to, like exactly to the T, who are they? Um, what kind of developer are they, or what kind of where are they in their professional journey? And then kind of going from there, like what is exciting for them? Is this piece of software exciting for them? And how do we kind of get that in front of them? So um, yeah, I like doing that initial strategy keyword research in terms of advertising. Um, if I were outside of the advertising world and back at my jobs before this, I'd be working on like guerrilla marketing techniques, and we can dive into that if we want. But like developers are a funny group of folks and they don't respond to marketing like you were saying. So how do we get them excited about something without coming across as marketing or sales? So those are some of the campaigns that I like to run on the back end to kind of drum up some of that excitement.
When we have this technology that is very exciting and can change stuff, I think developers do not like it straight
Yeah.
away. So they want somebody to test it first. They understand that new technology has bugs. It has some
Hmm.
challenges. So they want some people to work on it and polish it. And when they're people that they see as opinion leaders say, "Hey, I have this in my workflow," they're like, "All right, maybe I'll try it. Sounds good. I heard it many times."
Yeah.
So do you have different approaches in the first stage when you just need the first people who are willing to take a step, and on the second stage where you have the social proof and some of the people already using it? Is it different?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. I think like for that beginning stage, that's where that education piece is really important. And marketers on that side of the house usually don't know how to educate people because it's so technical. So relying on someone in your team that is more technical. Maybe it's a developer who has a good public appearance, or maybe it's a DevRel person, like a developer relations person that can come on. Um, Maybe it's a sales engineer. Like it's important to for them to be able to talk confidently on the product and kind of guide people through what it looks like as a whole. um, that kind of breaks down that barrier of should I trust these people to solve this problem. um, the next stage is like you mentioned, once it's proofed out, like how do you get folks to try then? And it's really important to break down any barrier of entry for those folks. So that's where the free trials and like beta offerings are really important. Like get as many people on it as possible, get as many people trying it as possible. Because those folks, if you solve their problem well, they're going to talk to their friends, to their other developer friends, who will then go try it. So that's kind of how I think about it.
All right. So first step you need to do as a developer who produced something very, very cool. First, you need a person who talks good, put them in front
Yep.
of the camera and make
Yeah.
them use your product and show
Yeah.
it around. And on the next step, you collect the intelligence from people like David. They will say the 1, 2, 3 points that you need to collect. You need a way for removing friction, like a
Hmm.
free trial. You need the social proof that people are using and your product does not kill people. That's good. And this
Yeah.
is the start of like massive action.
Yes. And another piece to make sure, another important piece about that is like you're using your community that is, you're taking advantage of the community that's using your product for feedback. So it's like a continuous feedback loop, so that you're improving the product for future users. That's usually in my line of work. That's usually what has worked for startups that may be breaking their product into the market. That's usually what resonates with the technical developer.
What I heard recently was a great story of how this, you referred this as using your community to get feedback. It has this vibe of like you're using the people, so probably you need to give people something in return. Give them platform credits, give them nice features at low cost. And how did gaming industry solve that issue? They call it early access, and you pay more money for the game
Yeah. Yeah.
to be in this like test environment, fight bugs, and provide feedback, and you pay more money.
Yeah.
Awesome! Why do just all developers don't do that? Here is my software that barely works.
Yeah.
Pay
Yeah.
me a
You
lot of
can't do that.
money and give me feedback. No?
No, that doesn't work in the software side of things. I think that there's like super user, you just like find super users in those communities. And the cool thing about the developer community is they're always willing to help, at least in my experience. And those are the folks that kind of shine in your community, and they're the ones that bring, like they will look for things in your software because they want to help other developers succeed too. So um, figuring out a way to foster that kind of relationship is really important. And maybe it's like making them feel special by inviting them on to one of your webinars or one of your podcasts. Maybe it's just sending them swag, like stupid little stickers or t-shirts, or like those are, I mean, you look at every developer's computer, they have a million stickers on their laptop, right? So it's just like fun little things like that that can keep them engaged in your community, keep them kind of that super user by making them feel special.
Great advice. I certainly see developers with the stickers, and I love how the stickers on their laptop directly connect to the technologies that they're using. So
Yeah.
I'm like looking around the open space office, you can just navigate by stickers saying, oh, who is the network engineer?
Yep,
That guy.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you stumble upon a person from design department, and they just confuse you. It's like, what? Why is that?
Yep. All of my stickers would probably confuse you, because
What you got?
I know enough about the technology to talk about it, but if you started like getting really deep into it, it would just go straight over my head. So um, on my laptop, I have all the stickers that I've created. I think they're really cool. Um, but I have a lot of like open source tooling stickers too. So from all the conferences that I've been to, everyone brings to the table something really cool and unique, and I love getting those types of stickers and putting them on my laptop. So yeah, I would definitely be that confusing person in the crowd for you.
As a team leader and as a head of the family, what are the things that you are working on improving in your work life and in your personal life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the type of leader that I am is like I I give you a project and I let you go do it, and I'm gonna kind of guide you on some things. If you fail a little bit, I'm gonna let you fail. If you fail a lot, that's where I'll come in and help you a little bit more. Um, but with that type of leadership, communication is really key, and that is something that I can always be working on. So, um, yeah, offering the right feedback at the right time, and making sure that you're always in communication is really important for me. So that's something that I'm always working on.
All right. And in your personal life, what things you want to do more, or where you want to improve the quality of stuff that you're doing?
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get distracted in our lives, and figuring out a way to remove those distractions is something that I'm currently working on. Um, and focusing on things that actually matter is really important for me. So it's a work in progress, just like communicating, and I'm trying to figure that out. But yeah, as long as you're bettering yourself every day, that's what really matters.
What kind of steps you take? Do you get your TV remote and set up the timer so TV
I'm not
automatically
that good.
shuts off Netflix at 9 p.m.?
I wish. I wish I was that good. No, I think it's like it comes down to self-reflection and realizing where you could improve, um, and then having surrounding yourself with the people that can help you improve. So, um, my wife is really good at kind of encouraging me for that self-improvement, and having those people in your life is really important for that. So, that's kind of the approach that I take.
But what do you do? Because what
What
you
do I
say,
do?
what you say to me is a very slippery road. You say
It is. It
self-reflection
is.
and getting support from other people. So you self-reflect, think about what you're doing good, what you're doing bad, and then the other people give you feedback. And if you don't do anything about it, you just feel bad because you see
Yeah.
where you are
No, good
not
point.
doing super great.
Yeah. No, okay. Self-reflection, communicating what you've self-reflected on, and then having your partner or community hold you to it. So kind of call you out on maybe when you're doing well or when you're kind of slipping down that slippery slope, as you say. So um, yeah, it's all about um, back to the communication thing, and yeah, I think
Tell me
is that
one
good?
actionable thing where you say like, I, David, said to my wife, I will not scroll Instagram for 45 hours a day. And she's like, hey, put that phone down.
Yeah. No, okay. So I needed to get into shape for a big bike trip that I took, and that's a way that I motivated myself to maybe put down the phone and go to the gym or go for a bike ride. And my wife was there encouraging me, making sure that I was true to myself and telling me that I should go to the gym when I was scrolling on Instagram or whatever. So yeah, I think it's like you have to do the initial work and put in that initial effort, and then your partner is there to remind you of that effort and what the end goal will look like. And if you don't do those things, you're going to be miserable on your big bike trip. So yeah, that's kind of the approach that I take.
I think there is a way to boost consistency of that thing is when your wife does the sport thing or whatever you're doing together with you. Encouragement is cool, but if they are sweating right there beside you,
I know.
yeah,
In an ideal world, that's how it would be, but a world with two kids under the age of four, it's not possible.
definitely. Alrighty, David. Thank you for this interview. I think we have generated value for people starting out and for those poor souls that working on the product side alone without help in the dark, all pale like me.
Of course, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's really cool to um, hopefully offer some advice to these folks that are in the trenches. And yeah, this is the world that I live into. So I just encourage them to keep going forward, and eventually you will break through.
Awesome. Alrighty. What kind of people would you want to talk to you if they see the video?
Yeah, so I work with a lot of teams, one-man marketing teams, or folks that don't quite have marketing yet, that have that um, product that they're trying to break into market. Maybe they have an awareness issue. That's where I come in and kind of help them bring in leads, have a strategy going forward for bringing their product to market. Those are the type of clients that I usually work with.
Cool. And if we can be super transparent, because those guys are tricky. You said you don't get a lead that easy from them.
Yeah,
What kind of uh, payment do you take? Are you one of those who take part of the advertising budget, or you have
no.
a consulting fee?
I have a consulting fee. It's not based off your advertising budget. So I'm very upfront with my pricing, um, and it doesn't change throughout the engagement. Another thing that folks appreciate is like I only do a 3-month engagement, and then it's month to month. So I basically have to work for um, I have to work for it, and I have to prove myself before we can continue to work together. So those are, yeah, I think in the startup world, you have to be transparent with your pricing and you have to be fair with your pricing. So those are two things that I consider myself, um, if that answers your
Awesome.
question.
You are a good person.
I try to be.
All right, David. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Alex. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.